Not know Billy, she was a fantastic woman. She always brought a smile into the room when she entered. She was the first to raise her hand to volunteer. She was always somebody that you could count on to take the project through to the end. She finished the work. We had fun whenever there was a committee that Billy was on, but we got the work done. We made sure that the mission or the goal of the day was always accomplished. It is a particularly wonderful honor to receive the award from her. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask Zonta, what were you thinking when you nominated me? What, are you crazy? Think about it. All of these past awardees, they're magnificent people. They've given so much to the community. They have internal beauty. They are women of great achievement. And then you throw me into this mixture? I don't see it. So I studied Amelia and her life and her achievements. And I went, yeah, maybe that's where I fit in, with Amelia. So I did. I found out, Amelia, she flies planes all around the world, just like me. I sit in planes and I go places around the world. I'm willing to do that. Let's see, Amelia, she wrote several books. I've read several books. I see the difference. Okay, I got it. Amelia, she looked great in hats. She could even put a bomber hat on and look good. No, not me. I can't wear even the prettiest hat. I look terrible in hats. So what do I have? What I did find out when I studied Amelia, and that was very clear, is that she believed in breaking down barriers, and I do too. She was best known for her numerous aviation records, but it's Amelia's legacy of unfaltering determination and her can-do attitude for equal treatment of women that lives on. She avoided traditional stereotypes for women. Amelia was a rambunctious child. Now that is the one thing I did notice, and I said, well, maybe I am like her a little bit. I was rambunctious, still am, never mind. Though her mother wanted her to be a proper lady. She was even tagged as a tomboy. This unconventional approach to life led her to face challenges head-on, and the result, she was treated as an odd bird. Think about it. 1923, Amelia Earhart was the 16th woman in the United States to receive her pilot's license. She wasn't a regular woman, she was an outstanding woman. But in her day, think of how people must have looked at her and must have thought of her. She was going out there and she was taking on a world where regular women just weren't even allowed to go into. She noticed that there were women all over the country, not a lot of them, about 117 by 1929, and they needed to have their own support groups. So she started something called the 99s. There were about 10,000 men in this country at the time that had pilot's license, but only 117 women. And so she made it possible for those women across the country to be able to get together and talk and share stories. She wanted women in aviation to be treated as equals, rather than spoiled as something rare and very precious. Seems the press at the time wasn't focusing on the women's accomplishments. Some things don't change all the time. We hail her now, but in her day, she must have seemed very odd. This was not conventional behavior or thinking for a lady. One might even say it was radical. It reminds me of one of my favorite modern quotes, and I'm sure many of you have heard it. Well-behaved women rarely make history. I don't like it because I think women need to be crazy, although I will tell you it is fun at times. I like it because there are times when it is the right thing to upset the ordinary and to go against the conventional. Laura Thatcher Ulrich was a historian from Harvard that made that quote in 1976. It has been said that her approach to history has been described as a tribute to the silent work of ordinary people. Throughout my life, I have witnessed the silent work of ordinary people. I have had the privilege of knowing just those kinds of coworkers, friends, and family, both past and ones that I've lost already. When Tammy first told me that I was selected as this year's Woman of Distinction, I literally said, no, it's too much, it's too much. And I meant it. I meant it. It was too much, Tammy. So, many of you here today silently work for the betterment of those without a voice. So many of you face life's challenges head on, and so many of you have Amelia's can-do attitude. Whether I was raising our family, working in juvenile detention, prevention education, teen pregnancy, or public health, I look for the strengths in each person or group. Like so many of you, I believe strongly that all people have many gifts, even though sometimes they are hard to identify when hope is lost and everything seems to be going wrong. Years back, I worked with a young mom who was struggling to make a life for her child. When she was growing up, things were not so great in her household, and she desperately wanted a better life for her son. But so many things were working against her. She hadn't gotten her high school diploma yet. There was no driver's license, trying to find a job. Things were just really, really difficult for her to get going. Finally, she did get a job, and she very, very slowly started to turn around and started to move her life forward. Then one day when I went to meet with her, she had given almost her entire paycheck to a friend who was in need. And I was just beside myself. She wasn't going to be able to pay her own rent. She wasn't going to be able to buy food for the rest of the week. What was she thinking? Why did you do that? I was so frustrated with her. I was mad. I wanted to walk out of the house like, we're never going anywhere. But I didn't, and I looked closer and I listened longer. What that young lady had done is she had identified a very strong circle of support that she could count on when her needs arose. And when you're living as a disenfranchised person or someone in poverty, that need can arise in an instant. It can happen without notice on the next horizon, at the next turn of the corner. She needed her safety net, and that friend was her safety net. So it was very important that she made sure that her friend was taken care of, even if it was going to hurt her and possibly her child. Those are strengths. They're not being used in the best way, because she's hurting herself at the same time. But those are strengths. Those are things that we all should identify in each other and how we can help move forward. We're not helpful when we judge and we walk away. We are helpful when we listen carefully to find those strengths and identify the supports and give hope. It's a slow process, but in time, even this young mom learned to give her friend some money when she needed help, but not to put herself in a perilous way or her child. It's that kind of thinking that resonated so quickly with me when I heard about the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative that Fulton Block Builders is created from. In many ways, Fulton had become disenfranchised, lost hope, and didn't see a way out. The Healthy Neighborhood Initiative is all about identifying what's going well in the city and strengthening on that. It's not about just planting flowers, hanging a new storm door, or trimming the hedges. It is about strategy, getting residents to understand the importance of these little things. It's important that it's about getting residents to react to these little things and start to feel just a little bit better and to have more confidence in their neighbors, their block, and their community. It's about building neighborly relationships that foster community. And it is about and this is how confidence translates into investment, both social and financial for the city. From the outside, many people will only see the pretty flowers, the trimmed hedges, and the new storm doors. What they won't understand or see is the slow but steady transformation that is occurring in our neighborhoods. Fulton Block Builder awardees are charged with not only improved property maintenance and appearance, they are being asked to act with intention, to lead the way to increase the standards of neighborliness, and to be the voice of community participation. In doing so, confidence levels will increase in all Fulton neighborhoods, and we can once again reach our full potential. Zonta International, as you heard this evening, mission is to women worldwide through service and advocacy. Zonta International envisions a world in which women's rights are recognized as human rights, and every woman is able to achieve her full potential. It's not surprising that Amelia would choose to be a Zonta member. I am honored and humbled to be selected to stand beside the many women that have received this award before me. I share Zonta's commitment to service and empowerment, not only for women, but for all people that are disenfranchised in one way or another. I was drawn to the Healthy Neighborhood Initiative, the Foundation for the Block Builders, because it highlights the strengths of the city through its residents, builds on what's going well, and makes it possible for all people to grow and live in a nurturing community. It is a privilege to be chosen by this esteemed organization for this esteemed honor, and I accept it for all of us here who do the silent work of ordinary people. Thank you.